guys, Brian Etheridge, Stick'em 365, doing our 10 things, following the 31-38 loss to Iowa State. Starting off the momentum of the game, starting strong, had the interception from Kalen Barnes. It was a great-looking, interception, even with the club, one-handed. The offense started looking like what everybody wanted to in that first drive, the touchdown. Then Raleigh Tejada, great interception. Got run down there, though, so he needs to hit, make sure he's back on the track, get that speed back up, Tejada. But Charlie, he's going to like that. He would like to have that throw back on the sidelines that he tried to throw through the defender. Didn't happen. But then Mark Milton comes in and has a horrible play and loses outside contain. Bree scores. Iowa State starts to get a little bit of momentum back. And then Craig Williams goes down on that trash field, the worst field in the Big 12. Baylor's probably lost Craig Williams for the season, again, due to a knee injury because of a horrible field at Iowa State that needs to be torn up, plowed under, and replaced with something that people can play on without falling every other play. Jalen Petrie, pick 6. You got T-Rex going nuts in the stands. You could see him up there. That was really funny to watch, to see that and see him jumping around. The momentum started off the second half, the fumble with the punt return on Iowa State. And then that momentum just shifted right back with the offense going 3 and out 3 straight times, doing essentially nothing. The offense was not the same after Squirrel went down. Quaylon Jones and Tay McWilliams saw time over Treston Ebner. So, and then all of a sudden, here comes Ebner, busts the touchdown. So, he is involved in the offense. So something's a little bit wrong with him right now. Thinking a little bit of injuries. He's a little dinged up, but he did everything he could. There's a big stop in the fourth, the 4 to go to get Baylor back in it, and then an incredible catch by R.J. Sneed, got him down to the 17, and then a throw into triple coverage by Charlie into the game, just like he did against West Virginia, and that's the final, 31-38. Iowa State walks away with that win when Baylor should have taken it. This is a 2-minute take. Brian Etheridge, call in. You got J.D. Drake for the postgame, 254-339-1122.
Equalizer. He wants it all on one play, and he's got it. Beautifully designed. Ben Sims, the tight end, into the end zone for the touchdown. This is the Stick'em 365 radio postgame show, presented by Muscle Wise Nutrition, a coach-managed diet program to lose substantial weight, targeting fat while sparing muscle. Please email us at info365@musclewisenutrition.com, and one of our coaches will contact you promptly to get you set up for our free educational seminars. Lose weight by losing fat and sparing muscle. Start Muscle Wise today. Also sponsored by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac at Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. People you can count on. Brewer over the middle. He's got a man in stride, and walking into the end zone is Josh Fleeks with the touchdown. Here's Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell.
We are live from the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Broadcast Center on the Muscle Wise postgame show on Stick'em 365 Radio. As always, I'm Drake Toll alongside former Baylor football player J.D. Pickell, recapping Baylor's 38-31 loss against Iowa State. We're live, the phone lines are open, and your calls are coming in on Central Texas' #1 caller-driven digital sports show. You can join in the fun by calling or texting 254-339-1122. It's over in Ames, and
here we go again.
It happened again. It happened again. Baylor drops to 1-4 after a tough loss to Iowa State, in which they went up by double digits early, and we met the same fate that has caught the Bears the last 4 weeks.
And I was so ready to give it to all of the Charlie Brewer haters, and we will go another week with me having to defend the man that is Charlie Brewer.
And let's start it off. Phone lines are open. We have the calls backing up right now. If you're on the line with us, hold on. Thank you for calling. We've got James. James, you're on with Stick'em 365 Radio. Talk to us, James.
Hey, guys. I have 3 talking points for y'all. First, end of the first half decision with around 2 minutes to go, 3 timeouts in our pocket. We run the ball 3 times in a row to essentially end the half without going for points. 2, not utilizing Treston Ebner, especially with those throws out of the backfield. And then 3, sorry to whoever's defending Charlie Brewer there, but on that last throw alone, that's why he should be benched, in my opinion.
Stop again.
I've been saying it all year, but that kind of epitomizes it there. So,
James, thanks so much for your call. It's a good 3 points. I think he makes a lot of good points. Let me say this about the end of the first half. At that point in time, according to ESPN, Baylor had an 86.2% chance of winning the football game. So I'm not sure, especially getting the ball in the second half, if that was necessarily too conservative, especially when there's not a lot of trust in Charlie Brewer to go deep in the 2-minute drill, especially at the end of the half. But I'll let JD take point number 3. You seem like you're kind of chomping for it.
Well, let's talk about the end of the first half first, because I think that's definitely something to be concerned about and definitely a good talking point. You got to play to win. I mean, I get you have a lead and you haven't played with the lead much this entire season, but it's a trust thing, right? Like, show that you believe in your guys to go and score points and close out the first half and just keep the momentum going. So that was kind of frustrating for me to see them take their foot off the gas and just kind of coast into the second half. Everything with Charlie, I disagree. Outside of that last play, your quarterback threw for nearly 300 yards. He had the bad pick, and he threw 3 touchdowns. Like, he did what he was supposed to do. You scored 31 points. I came into this game saying if Baylor scores 31 points, they will win the football game. And obviously it didn't happen, but they had a chance to, and they had a chance because of Charlie Brewer and the way he played. Nobody at running back had more than 8 carries. Like, why are they not giving him help at the running game? Like, you can't just toss it around every single play. He had 10 carries. He's the leading rusher. Like, what is going on?
We've got Steven from Virginia, Jack Wheeler, David, and Michael all on the line right now. Let's get to Steven from Virginia. Steven, you're on with Sikkim 365 Radio.
Hey, guys. I also have 3 points.
Oh, wow.
The first one for me is that it was an incomplete football game again. For the last 3 games have been incomplete football games. They played really well in the first and second quarters. They played well enough to come back in the fourth quarter, but the third quarter was atrocious. There may have been 1 first down in the whole quarter, and those 3 and-outs in a row were awful. And not only was Craig Williams hurt, but if you remember, Terrell Bernard came off with that shoulder injury, and that's when Breece Hall pretty much back-to-back ran drives down our throat for 2 of those 3 touchdowns when they were coming back in their 21-in-a-row point run. The second point is, the injuries. And I think if Craig Williams is still in that game, it's a lot different. Now, you notice Terrell Bernard came back, the defense shored up, and there wasn't really as much free running by Breece Hall. The third point I want to make, and this is for people who hate on Charlie Brewer. Charlie Brewer is not coming out of the football game anytime soon. And the last week proved that to me. I hate to say it, but what that means is that for Coach Aranda, the language around Charlie has to change. It has to change from, other people in practice don't look good enough, because I don't think people are buying that, even though it's probably true, considering the limited amount of playing time those guys had. So what needs to be said is that Charlie Brewer's not getting pulled unless he's hurt, because he's done whatever for this program and da-da-da-da-da. And it just needs to be final so people like the caller previous don't keep calling in asking for Charlie to get benched. It's not happening.
Steven, thanks so much for your call and your 3 points. That's 6 points through 2 callers. We're going to start paying these guys for the content. That's really solid.
That's good stuff. Came prepared.
And I agree. Charlie Brewer is top 3 in just about every quarterback statistic in a career at Baylor. I think he's still your guy right now. It felt like with Iowa State coming back and Baylor with the 3 straight 3-and-outs, it felt like,
here we go again.
And how could it not?
I love that.
Because we've seen it the last few weeks. Baylor comes so close to winning a ball game, and they fall short. I'm not sure if that's on Charlie Brewer's back right now. I know the offensive line crumbled a couple of times and put him in situations to run, and I felt like he did a decent job of doing so late in the game. At the same time, though, what was that last pass?
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, I can't make an excuse for the last pass. It was bad. I'm trying to make a play, emotional game. You're trying to make a play. Charlie's a bit of a gunslinger. And that's kind of what you get with him. But at the same time, you're in the game because of Charlie Brewer throwing for nearly 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Again, I get the 2 picks. You hate that. But at the same time, you just live and die with that with Charlie. But I agree with that caller. Probably not coming out anytime soon. In regards to injuries, didn't help anybody, obviously.
No.
But defense played lights out, with the exception, obviously, of the 38 points, which feels like kind of I feel like that's not really a gimme, obviously, 38 points. But, I mean, they created so many turnovers. Like, they kept Baylor. I mean, Baylor was in this game because of what they did on the turnover standpoint.
Jack, you're on the line. We've got David as well. Both of you guys been holding on for a long time. Thanks so much for that. We're going to get to Jack, who is a regular caller. Jack, talk to us.
Dude, I got to tell you, this team is like the definition of Jekyll and Hyde. Looks great for one half, and then the next half, it's like one the world is this team. But
they can't pick which half to play well in. It's just going to be,
I'd like to point out for people a good point that my buddy Armstrong Sims, shout out to him, was
Best in the biz.
Charlie actually overthrew somebody today, just to let people know that I think he can't throw down the field.
Yeah,
but,
that's a good point.
I understand the point of people getting frustrated with how he's been playing, especially that last play. But folks, he's probably not going to be taken out. And it's not the fact that people are like, hey, we need a QB change. It just seems to me that people are actively rooting for him to fail so we can have a QB change. What are your thoughts? That's all I got.
Well, let me just say, I get the fact that people want Charlie out. Like, that's not unreasonable. If anytime you're 1-4, you want to change the quarterback. Probably like something has to change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's Charlie, but I get why people are calling for Charlie. Something's got to change. You got to win games. It's not acceptable to lose.
For me, it's not necessarily that Charlie Brewer put Baylor in position to win the game today. It was Baylor's defense and Iowa State's offense or lack of consistent Brock Purdy in the first half that put Baylor in position to win the game today. Armstrong, you're on with Pregame 365 Radio. What you got?
Me?
Yeah.
I just think he overthrew him by, not only did he overthrow him, he overthrew him by like 7 yards. That's got to be some kind of
He
accomplishment.
uncorked it.
He overthrew multiple guys today, as if he's like proving the arm strength. Like, hey, I know you're open, but I'm going to show you fans out there that I can throw the ball very far.
I think that was going on in his head.
We've got David. David's been on the line for 8 minutes. David, thank you so much for holding on. Talk to us, David from California.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Hey, JD, love you, man. I love your optimism. The defense of Charlie is admirable, and trust me, I'm a natural optimist. I've been on the Charlie train. I've been a holdover. I've been on it for longer than most. But, guys, come on. I'm hearing the Charlie defense here. He had 2 picks, okay? One of them, that first one was awful in that first half, and the one at the end was awful as well.
Horrendous.
And I want to introduce another conversation here. Something I've noticed this entire season is his over-reliance on R.J. Sneed. The guy, he has his comfort blanket with R.J., and it's bit us before. It's led to a couple of interceptions already in previous games, and it cost us dearly here at the end. He just has that tunnel vision on RJ, and it really cost us. And by the way, I just want to address the other comment. I think is JD talking about our running backs not getting more than 8 carries each. But to be fair, guys, you got to remember Craig Williams. He was well on his way to way more than 8 carries in this game.
Yeah.
Well on his way to more than that. So, and then he got hurt. So prayers up to him. But it's tough all around. It's a shame that we're having to talk this way about Charlie, who's a Baylor legend in my book. I disagree with the previous caller. I don't think anyone's actively rooting against him. I hope not, at least. So that's all I got, guys. But thanks. I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, thanks so much, David. I'm going to have to disagree with that last part. I agree with most everything that you said, but people are actively rooting against Charlie Brewer in the Baylor bubble right now, saying that it's time to make a change and to go to Jacob Zeno. Multiple folks are looking for Charlie Brewer, same as Eli Manning was a couple of years ago, to throw as many interceptions as possible, look as bad as possible, so that there can be a change. But I have to call into question, how real of a Baylor fan are you if that's what you want right now? We have Richard on the line. You've been on the line for a long time. JD, I'm going to let you give your take on that last call.
Love it.
But yeah, we're going to wrap that one up and go straight to Richard. Richard, you're on with Pregame 365 Radio, longtime caller. Had you last Saturday. Glad to have you again.
Hey, how's it going, fellas? Yeah, I won't call for Charlie to be pulled this week, but I will say that I wish I had his confidence. Same confidence when I walk into the club.
Yeah.
I wish I had that confidence. That he has in his arm, because that last play, triple coverage, and then the interception in the first quarter. It was just, and he just can't. It just seems like he can't make more than one read. Josh Fleek's poor guy, like he throws his hands up in the air because his the corner slipped and he was wide open, and then yet Charlie forces, and I don't know, maybe he thinks he can make that throw. Like y'all said, he did overthrow somebody earlier, just to show us that he can make that throw or make a long throw. But it was just a frustrating game to watch after something that looked so promising in the first quarter defense. Brock Purdy, those 3 interceptions, and Petrie's pick 6. Tejada had interception, and it just seemed like we lost confidence after, I guess, when Squirrel went down. It just didn't look good as far. Just seemed like we lacked confidence in the third quarter, most of the fourth quarter. So we didn't start slow, but we kind of finished slow, and I think it's just, and I posted on the board, it's, can you look me in the eyes and tell me we can win more than one game?
I can't. That's for sure.
I guess
this guy can, but I think he's crazy for saying it.
I'll look you right in your corner.
I know JD's the optimistic one. So I mean, if I want to, if y'all could tell me, getting to 1 or 2 more wins on this season, like how do we do it when we just look so lackluster most of the season?
Yeah, Richard, thanks so much for your call. As always, we have Ralph, Chris, Robinson, and T-Rex on the line. You guys hold on with us. I want to address that first and foremost, Baylor's inconsistency. It just seemed like Baylor fans everywhere were screaming.
Yeah, here we go again.
And that was the mantra of today. Here we go again. It was happening all over again as Baylor started to lose, it started to come off track as the game progressed. And to that note, I think, how does Baylor win another game or two? Maybe by beating Texas Tech in an upset. Otherwise, they're not going to.
Well, I mean, I think you have to be encouraged by today. Like, you scored 31 points and offense was your problem. I think if you play remotely how well you did offensively today against Texas, you have a shot. I mean, I think against TCU, you have a shot. Like, there's a lot of games Baylor's putting themselves in and shooting themselves in the foot offensively because they're not playing all 4 quarters. I mean, they just took the third quarter off today, and look what happened. They took Iowa State, a good Iowa State team, and lost by 1 score. So, maybe I'm optimistic. I really think there's a lot more still that Baylor has to do. I think their best games are ahead of them. Just frustrating that went the way it did today, and that they took their foot off the gas.
Very optimistic opinion. Very optimistic.
We'll see.
I'll say this:
we'll see. Keep
Baylor
that same energy.
Was
Keep
up
that same energy.
21-7 in the game today. Mm-hmm. All 21 points came off of turnovers. Two of which were, or one of which I should say, a pick 6. Only 2 of which were offensive. So,
but that's not new. Like against West Virginia, they had 6 turnovers and couldn't close. But I mean, I'm just saying this production from the defense is keeping us in games. But I don't anticipate that necessarily going away. Maybe they won't have 4 in turnovers and 6 turnovers in the coming games. But I mean, they're good for 1 or 2. I would say almost every game.
Offense definitely wasn't as great as maybe we would think 31 points says. We got Ralph. Ralph, you're on with Sigma 365 Radio. Patrick, is it Patrick?
Yo.
Oh, talk to us.
Yo, what's up? Sorry. There you go. I was like, who's Ralph? No, just quickly. So I just don't know. My thing is, I don't know where this take is, with all due respect to you guys. I think I'll do a great job. But I don't know where this take is coming from, where the offense kept us in the game. I mean, we had 3 picks, right? Got us on the field, scored in the red zone a couple times. It was great. But I just don't know where the offense was keeping us in the game. So I don't know where that take's coming from. That's not what I saw when I was watching the game. But secondly, my thing is just, guys, like, come on. Charlie, I get it. Great guy, great quarterback for this program for a long time. But he's just not there anymore. He doesn't have it anymore. And I don't think you saw that at the end of the game tonight. Even with that throw to RJ, nobody was within 20 yards. Almost overthrew him out of bounds. Just not making sense to me where we're talking about how these young guys don't have any experience, but we're not giving him any experience. You know what I mean? So those are my points. Want to hear your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thanks so much for your call, Patrick. I'll start by saying I think JD and I are going to disagree on this. I'm with you. I'm not sure that Baylor's offense, that 31 points, the catalyst wasn't the offense. The catalyst was the defense with the turnovers, the pick six. So I'm with you. It's not that Baylor's offense just did something spectacular today they haven't done before. And where do you fall in line with that, JD?
I would say the offense wasn't necessarily the reason they were in the game, but offense did well enough to keep the game competitive. You allowed 200 yards rushing against Iowa State. Obviously a good rushing team, but the defense definitely let up quite a bit in the second half. And so it was kind of a back and forth of each unit picking themselves up and picking the other one up. But the offense played substantially better than it has all season long today. Outside of Kansas, obviously, but I don't know if we really count Kansas. I don't know if that is that a really a viable sample size?
It's your default NAIA game of the year.
Right. So all this to say is like I'm seeing a steady trajectory upwards for this Baylor offense. Obviously the two picks, like you just hate that, but outside of that one play, let's say, for example, it's a fumble on the last play by Treston Ebner. Like we're not talking about Charlie in the same light.
You got Chris calling in from Fairfield, Texas. Robinson, you're also on the line. Thank you guys both for holding on here. T-Rex, you're still on with us as well. We're going to go to Chris. Chris, you're on with Sikkim 365 Radio.
Yeah, as far as this game today, to me it was a mirror image of the West Virginia game.
Yep.
Defense kept this team in the game.
Yep.
I mean, and the offense couldn't keep up to that level. As far as people hating us, just wanting to see Charlie be benched, I don't think that's what it is. I don't know what's going on with him. It was like he's shell-shocked.
Yeah.
From his freshman year to sophomore year to this year, I mean, he's holding the ball way too much longer. It used to be he would run on those plays if nothing was open. Now he's just holding on to it and just a lot of bad decision making with the throws, throwing in the double coverage.
Yep.
As we've seen at the end of the game. We've seen that all year. So it's nothing new. Wasn't a surprise. I was watching the game. I'm flipping back on different games. I see that, and I'm like, well, as usual, we've seen it all year. Most time guys on the defense just don't catch the ball, But he threw it right to him. But as far as, it was a surprise this season with the offense, I thought it was going to be the defense.
Oh, absolutely.
That was going to be the word. But actually, it's been the defense. It's been the backbone of this team, which was surprised they really didn't lose on offense. I'd say, maybe Mims, maybe some old linemen.
Right.
But you have to start looking, I think, at the coaches. I mean, as the OC. Something is wrong with the play calling or the scheme or something, just everything on the offensive side. It's stagnant. It's not doing anything,
Yep.
But that's my take on it.
Chris, thanks so much for calling in. As soon as Baylor got down inside the 15-yard line there late in the game and Charlie Brewer reared back to throw into triple coverage, I just thought,
here we go again.
And there we were again. Charlie Brewer throws an interception that seals the game for the opposing team. And it looked just like West Virginia, like you mentioned, Chris. And I think on the other end of that, I believe firmly that Dave Aranda is the answer right now for Baylor's defense. Yeah. He turned what was supposed to be a rebuilding year on the defensive side of the ball into one of the better defenses, not just in the Big 12, but in the country. You look statistically, they're top 25 in a lot of categories. They've done a great job this season, and that's super unexpected. As for the offense, you got Charlie Brewer coming back, Tyquan Thornton, Treston Ebner, John Lovett, a whole myriad of these players that you expect to play really well and bring Baylor into this, upper echelon of college football if they can put something together defensively. But you're right, Chris, it's flipped the other way around. And I think you then have to turn to Larry Fedora and say, Larry, I know you're installing your offense on Zoom right now, but you've got weapons. What's going on?
Also, it's week 5. This is your fifth, not week 5, but this is your 5th game. So at this point, the excuse that we haven't installed enough is slowly but surely becoming less and less viable.
That's true.
I love the defense. Defense played awesome, but at the same time, you let up 38 points. So you kept us in the game, but did you really when you gave up 38 points and 200 yards rushing? I also want to say this: Charlie threw for 300 yards. There was 71 yards rushing, and 29 of those from Charlie. So where else is the offensive output coming from? I get that people don't want Charlie in the game. I get it. Charlie's the worst quarterback ever, according to some of these Baylor fans. But who else is doing anything for this Baylor team? And where's that offensive coming? Like, where are they going to replace that production?
Got a Robinson's hold on for 12 minutes. Thanks so much for your call. You are on with Sikkim 365 Radio. Caller?
Hello?
Hey, we can hear you. You're on.
All right, cool. So I agree with everything y'all are saying, and I'm going to go right into the Larry Fedora conversation because that's why I feel like
Love it.
there might be an issue, right?
Speak truth. Here we go again.
Okay. Right. So I feel like you have a possible game breaker in Quaylon Jones, and we've seen him make big plays before in the past. You also got McWilliams coming in, who's about 6'1", 215 pounds, 220, right? Why can't you make the adjustment to running more of a power scheme when you got those running backs in the game running more so south, running more so north instead of running east and west, because you got guys who can break down linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks throughout the game, and then you can run play action, and then you can get Fleeks in the game, you can get Holmes in the game, and then you get RJ, you know what I'm saying, on streaks.
Yep.
I just don't get why he can make the adjustment, and it's there.
And it was confusing because Craig Williams is the smallest back of that bunch. He's 5'8", 170. And you get Quaylon Jones, who's 245. Ebner's a big boy. He's about 6 foot, 200 plus. Like, these are bigger backs, and for whatever reason, we get away from the power running game. So that's kind of the head scratcher. I think you and I actually do agree on this point, Drake. The Larry Fedora, like, hey, what are you really doing here? Why can't we put it together?
Where's our identity?
You know
There's not an identity right now. Thanks so much for your call. I think you made a great point about Fedora. There's a lot of questions to be raised, and that gets us into the man of the hour. He went all the way to Ames, Iowa, was the star of the show on ESPN today, and what better way? We're going to take this call into a break, but he's been waiting for 11 minutes on the line, and thanks for holding on with us. It's the man of the hour, T-Rex, here on Sick'em 365 Radio.
Oh, hey, gentlemen. The game itself, I don't have a lot. That was the best start to a game, I'd say, I've seen in a long, long time from Baylor. So big positives from that. We came out, just like I say, you got to come out, get pissed off. It looked like we wanted to win the game. I'm sorry, just some background noise. I'm walking back to my car.
It is a windy night in Ames, is it not?
The second quarter. Yeah, first, second quarter, great first half. We put points on the board. Defense was doing their thing, turnovers, everything's good. Third quarter, who the hell knows what was going on? I'll let everybody else complain about that. Fourth quarter, we looked great. Almost got the comeback. I probably would have got killed in there. It was fun. I had a good time. But I want to give a special shout out to the security, or rather lack thereof.
Nice.
That is employed, I guess, here. So I've been to every state in the Big 12. I've been to Ames before. I have never watched security guards stand by and let words that even I wouldn't say be shouted at me. Watch fans come closer and closer to me, wanting me to get in a fight, saying things that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy, and then a manager of the security comes up to me after the game and thanks me for not escalating it. So, in case anybody from the University of Iowa State is watching or listening, you really need to pull your head out of your ass, because I almost went to jail tonight because I've never been flipped off by so many people, and a 12-year-old giving me 2 middle fingers. Give some damn class, Ames, Iowa, because next time in 2 years, I ain't going to hold back. I will go to jail, get some class, learn how to freaking win, and I'm getting pissed off, and I'm sorry, and I'm going on a rant, but my God, Ames, Iowa, win some games with some class. I know you've never won a Big 12 championship, so you may not know how to do it, but guess what? You have a chance. If West Virginia can stop running couches, you can learn how not to say every cuss word in the book and teach your 12-year-olds to flip people off. So pull your head out of your ass, Ames, Iowa, and that's all I got to say.
Is it fair to say I have a man crush? Is that weird that I just
tell
have a
us
man
how you
crush
really
on-
feel,
on
T-Rex. I mean,
radio?
gosh. I think living in Norman has to really stink. Like, there's nothing in
There's a
Norman.
lot- there's a
but
lot
I
of
think the only thing worse is like Norman North, which is Ames, Iowa. That's Norman, but like 7 degrees or
Yeah.
like -7. I'm
Or
with
Morgantown.
it. We are going to be impartial here, but let's just say, T-Rex, if there's one good thing, it's that you live in Texas, they live in Ames, Iowa. So win or lose, you're the real winner here. We're going to take it to a break. This is the Sick'em 365 Baylor postgame show brought to you by Muscle Wise. Again, on Sick'em 365 Radio. When we come back, you have UT Mike. UT Mike, hold on the line, and we'll get you as soon as we're back. We'll prepare for that call over the break. Again, this is Sick'em 365 Radio.
group of over 30 physicians in Central Texas became frustrated seeing patients fail at losing weight themselves. They opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. We've seen too many patients suffer from complications of obesity. Patients who have tried countless do-it-yourself diets, which often results in 25% of the weight they lose coming from muscle breakdown and muscle loss. We needed another approach, so we opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. This is a coach-managed diet program to lose substantial weight, targeting fat while sparing muscle. Dieters are seen weekly by a coach who performs detailed body composition analysis. Please email us at Sikkim365@musclewisenutrition.com, and one of our coaches will contact you promptly to get you set up for our free educational seminars. Lose weight by losing fat and sparing muscle. Start Muscle-Wise today. Contact us at Sikkim365@musclewisenutrition.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas, familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Here's Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T studio. You're with myself, Drake Toll, again. Baylor football alumni J.D. Pickell on Central Texas' #1 caller-driven digital radio hour, the Muscle-Wise Baylor postgame show on Sikkim 365 Radio. Call us, text us, get involved in the action, 254-339-1122. He was an absolute hit for all the wrong reasons across Twitter and the rest of Sikkim 365 social media last week.
Here we go again.
It is UT Mike. UT Mike, you're on the air. Oh, please.
Right, Drake, here we go again. Hey, y'all keep talking about being in this Baylor bubble. And just in case you've been stuck in that bubble all day, that got busted. UT won again. JD, last week you kept saying it's a loser mentality. It's a loser mentality if we're going to go one for the rest of the year. And Drake was calling it a realist. JD, the only shot y'all have at winning another game this year is going to be if you have a bye week, and I'm pretty sure you don't have any of those left.
UT Mike.
Listen, really?
Let's make it interesting, UT Mike.
Terrible effort. Terrible effort. Terrible effort.
Here we go again.
Hey, I want y'all to win. My wife is a Baylor alum. I want you to win. For her sake.
No,
But
what?
I'm telling you, the effort's not there. There's no effort.
None of what you say leads to you wanting Baylor to win. Your rhetoric doesn't match that at all. Oh, is that it? Is that all?
Did he hang up?
No, he's still.
No. One more point.
Yeah, of course.
UT Mike out.
That's not a point. That's not one. You can't say one more point and then say goodbye.
It would be so much better if he was like good at the game, if he would had like actual information to bring to the table. But instead, UT wins today, barely, at home against West Virginia in what was a very awful football game to watch. And as always, nothing better to do on a Saturday night
Michael.
for UT Mike than to call in to the Baylor postgame show. We're going to start calling him TU Mike. I think that's what we're going to start doing. He came at you. You have 2 minutes to respond and go.
Okay, so let's start out with this. Baylor offensively, that's what everyone has an issue with, right? We can all agree defense is pretty solid. Obviously tonight, 38 points, not awesome. But offensively, they've been trending upward each week. If you play like you did tonight against Iowa State, beating Texas Tech is very, very realistic. And if they continue to trend upwards, who knows? Maybe they get someone. I mean, I get they're not going to be favored against anybody, but maybe they catch someone and surprise them on, Baylor's night. Tonight wasn't Baylor's night, obviously. Maybe they catch someone slipping. And that's kind of my thesis at this point. It's getting harder and harder to back it up. But I firmly believe that with this upward trajectory, beating Texas Tech, very realistic.
UT Mike, regretfully, thanks for your call. We have T-Rex is back.
Bring it.
This time, the auto screen says Iowa Bear. And I vaguely remember, I've been a T-Rex follower for a long time. He has Iowa ties. So I feel like I'm not positive what this is going to look like.
I can't wait.
We'll see what this You're on the air again, T-Rex.
Well, first off, I didn't know you had my number saved, so that's good to know. Anyways, I realized after I hung up that I forgot to say that all things aside here in Ames, Iowa, I'll be in Lubbock next week, row 1, and let's go to work, Baylor Bears. Take the positives, and let's beat the hell out of those Raiders. But watch out, don't get Raider rash,
T-Rex.
so I hope we wear protection.
T-Rex, I got a question for you, T-Rex. Are you still on the line? Oh, no, I think we lost T-Rex. I wanted to get T-Rex's opinion, because I guarantee that guy doesn't think we're winning one game the rest of the year. Guarantee he's showing up to every game thinking they got a shot.
T-Rex has got us winning out. And I like that mentality. I like that
probably does have us winning out.
Can have the positive mentality. That said, from our perspective, if you're going to be a realist and talk about what Baylor football's actual outlook is, it's 1-8. And that stinks. Coming off of an 11-1 regular season, but right now that's what you're staring down the barrel of. We have some texts to get to here. This one says, how much longer do we need to see before we make an adjustment? Games 2 through 5 look the exact same. The quarterback play is not good. It seems the play calling's adjusting to that. How many times are we going to make a moral victory before we actually win games? I said that after Texas, that we may not win another game, and it seems like that's going to happen.
And they have made adjustments. It's not like I get the sentiment that, nothing is changing because of the scores. Like, obviously, these scores, losing games is never fun. These scores don't look good. But I will say that Baylor has slowly but surely made more progress. Charlie looked substantially better today than he did against West Virginia. And I just want to make sure that is utterly undeniable a fact. The numbers prove it as well. Picks aren't great, but if you look at a little more minute details, this offense is trending upwards. They're starting to figure out. They're just not putting games together. So it's going to happen. It's not happening right now, but I'm optimistic it'll happen this season. And if it doesn't happen this season, it'll happen down the line, because Rome wasn't built in a day, and apparently neither was the Baylor offense.
Rome was not built in a day. I tell you what, though, the Baylor offense was built over the course of a few years. Look at last season, what they were able to do. Not that the offense was great. There were a lot of slow starts and inconsistencies.
Different offense, though.
That's right. Different offense, yes. But a lot of the same weapons coming back this year. You've got the bulk of your running game back with Lovett and Ebner. You throw Squirrel Williams, which, obviously we hope that he's okay. I think his injury played a big part into why Baylor lost today in the end. But this isn't just a startup offense of a bunch of random scraggly guys you throw together. There's a lot of experience here. We've talked about it. It's the 2016 Nissan Maxima. It's not the new Tesla, but it's something that can get you there, and it should be getting you there, but it's not. It keeps breaking down, and where do we go to fix it?
And that's kind of my point, too, is there is enough under the hood to be successful. It's like, why are we not putting it together? So, nobody was calling for Charlie's head last year when he wasn't playing lights out necessarily. Nobody was calling for his head last year.
You guys hear that out there?
So, I'm just saying, this is the same guy playing quarterback that won you 10 games a year ago. Let's all relax a little bit and just let this thing bake a little longer. I say it every week, but I'm telling you, it's just going to be a slow build. The firepower is there. The same guys are on the team.
That said, 11-1 Charlie Brewer is now 1-4 Charlie Brewer.
Yeah.
So that is the difference this year is the record.
Definitely.
That's tough.
Definitely, but they weren't blowing teams out. There was these same games that they were winning by a score. I mean, they eked out a game-winning field against Iowa State last year.
They did. And they could have done it today.
Yeah.
It's consistent. The last 4 games have looked the exact same, where Baylor is in it in the end, and Armstrong?
Here we go again.
They lose it. You're right there. You're on the cusp. You have a chance, and you lose it. This is a team that knows how to win. You have so many guys that are back from last year that saw 11-1. They saw the Big 12 championship. They saw the Sugar Bowl. But it's as if they just don't know how to win. They don't know how to finish. They can't get it done. Charlie Brewer, who's the comeback kid, is 1-4 right now.
Yeah.
Coaching staff or not, Charlie, you have so much experience in winning games late. Why are we throwing interceptions into triple coverage? We're over that.
Very fair.
We should know how to win at this point. T-Rex on the
I love this guy.
Riverbend Liquor, Wine, and Text line, all caps, by the way. Hell yes, we're winning out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, T-Rex. We got a call from Edinburgh, Virginia. Oh, my goodness. I love it. All across the country tonight, you're on with Sick'em 365 Radio.
Hey, guys, I called back, but I wanted to say this Larry Fedora offense is bad. And I've got a problem with this side-to-side football.
Yeah.
These swing passes to receivers in the back. It gets 1 yard, maybe 2 yards, maybe 4 yards. And they threw one to a back that cost us about 30 or 40 seconds in the 2-minute drill because the back tried to charge upfield instead of running out of bounds.
Yep.
And it's the same kind of song for 3 weeks in a row, and that's why they didn't move the ball in the third quarter. All right, now the offense got a huge boost by all the turnovers and the good field position they got, and they didn't have to move that far. But in the third quarter, when they had to actually move the ball, they started this side-to-side crap again. And I got to say, Larry Fedora hadn't been at Baylor long enough and doesn't have the deep enough Baylor ties for him not to be the person that this falls on if they go 1-9 or 1-8 or whatever it is. Because I'll be honest with you, I'll never say a bad word about Jeff Nixon again after watching this because Jeff Nixon wasn't schematically bad. The problem with those offenses were that the offensive lines weren't good enough to run the football consistently. It wasn't they kept doing stupid things over and over and over and over again that don't work. And it seemed like last week they got away from it, but they went back to that crap again in the third quarter, and that's why they lost the game.
Thanks again for your call, Steven. Coming back in and dropping a little knowledge bomb, a gnosis bomb on us again. Let me get on my soapbox for a second. JD, I know you're chomping on the bit right there for it. What if I told you we live in a world in which Baylor has 366 total yards of offense compared to Iowa State's 362? What if I told you that we live in a world in which Charlie Brewer throws for 295 yards and 3 touchdowns, Brock Purdy throws for 164 yards, 15 for 24, 3 interceptions. We live in a world in which Baylor outgains Iowa State in Ames, has a 14-0 lead early in the ball game, and an 86% chance to win at halftime, and they lose. I'll tell you why they lost. The offense went absolutely stagnant when it mattered. When it became real, when the game was on the line, the offense did not find pay dirt. And that was the difference today. Iowa State's turnovers set Baylor up for offense, but when Baylor wasn't in a solid position due to their defense stepping up, the offense just could not get it done today, and that was the difference and the reason they lost 38-31 in Ames.
And everyone gets upset, obviously, with the lack of production from the offense in terms of wins and losses, but I do want to say this. People compare this game to the West Virginia game. The offense wasn't finishing with the short field against West Virginia. Like, the offense was not able to put the ball in the end zone repeatedly like they did today. So in terms of progress, that's why I say, hey, we're having, a little bit of an upward trend. But I think you rattled off some great stats there. Charlie Brewer, 300 yards, outplayed Purdy. Like, there's a lot of positives to be taken away from this, and it's a very different story if he doesn't throw that pick at the very end.
When it mattered, Baylor just could not get it done. This is the Muscle Wise Baylor postgame show on Sick'em 365 Radio. Drake Toll alongside JD Piquel. We'll be right back after this break and close out the show. Again, Baylor falls to Iowa State, 38-31 in Ames.
Have you tried a do-it-yourself program to lose weight? You may not know that in a typical do-it-yourself program, a quarter of the weight you lose is due to muscle breakdown and loss. With COVID harming obese and overweight patients, being at ideal body weight is more important now than ever. Over 30 physicians in Central Texas, tired of seeing patients fail at losing weight themselves, opened Muscle-Wise Nutrition. This is a coach-managed weight loss program that targets fat and spares muscle. The 4 Muscle-Wise locations have taken off over 19,000 pounds from Texas dieters in the last few years. The combination of coaching and weekly body composition analysis to target the fat loss are the keys to success. The coaches teach you how to eat and live a healthy lifestyle. Email sickum365@musclewisenutrition.com today, and the coaches will contact you about their free educational seminars. Do not wait. Email today and start MuscleWise at sickum365@musclewisenutrition.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sickum 365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to Sickum 365 Radio. Here's Drake Toll and J.D. Pickell.
Welcome back in the Texas Farm Bureau Broadcast Center. You're with myself, Drake Toll, alongside Baylor football alum J.D. Pickell on Central Texas' #1 college-driven digital radio hour, the Muscle-Wise Baylor postgame show on Sickum 365 Radio. Last segment, you can get your final thoughts in. Text us or call us at 254-339-1122. Tempers still flaring. Baylor up by double digits, 2 scores, 21-10 at one point, 21-7 at one point. It seemed like everything was going Baylor's way, and in the end, Iowa State goes on an absolute tear in the third quarter, an extended drive, and they win the game. They are able to win the game in what seems like just a broken record, and for every Baylor fan across America, you just thought, Armstrong?
Here we go again.
Sorry, a little delayed that time.
You're right there on the cusp of winning. Oh, sorry. You are also right there. hit me with it again, Armstrong.
Here we go again.
You're right on the cusp of winning. You're right on the cusp of upsetting a top 25 team, and here we go again. Here's this from Jake DeSnake. We won a bunch of lucky games last year. Denzel Mims was the X factor. Whew.
Yeah,
lucky's a strong word.
Lucky, but I mean, they're games they're not closing right now. So, I mean, let's turn this around. Let's say that they don't win those games they did last year. Like Texas Tech's a loss, Iowa State's a loss last year. Like, just things really went Baylor's way, you know? So, I mean, I think at the same time, the expectation was set all the way up here because Charlie made a lot of big-time plays to win those games. And this year he's not, and so people are calling for his head.
Which is very confusing to me because there are a lot of weapons still there. Maybe Denzel Mims was the X factor.
Yeah.
He caught
Hard
a
to replace
lot of
Denzel
balls
Mims.
late. But look at what Ebner did last season, and R.J. Sneed and Tyquan Thornton to bring Baylor back into close games and win them. Those guys are still here playing for the football team, but we're not using them, I guess, effectively enough for Charlie Brewer's not finding them in an effective way for Baylor to close out these close games. He called into the show this past week when I was in studio, and it's just a star-studded cast of callers tonight. Baylor Bigfoot, you are on with Sick'em 365 Radio.
Hello, this is Baylor Bigfoot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, hey, I just want to talk about, once again, I was right, and Charlie Brewer needs to be benched. Okay? You hear me? He needs to be benched, and Garrett McGuire needs to play. Talk about that for a little bit.
I love Garrett McGuire, by the way.
Baylor
Garrett
Bigfoot,
McGuire.
you played with Garrett McGuire.
Garrett McGuire, I mean, play is a pretty strong word, but yeah, I mean, I was teammates with Garrett McGuire for a very brief period of time. But Garrett McGuire, football guy. He's going to be a guy that graduates early and goes and does coaching for Coach Rule, I believe. He's a football guy. So, I mean, if it came to it, I wouldn't feel horrible if Garrett McGuire's in the game. He could go in a game and not mess it up.
No, and look at what McGuire. Look what he did last week at halftime to rile the guys up.
Yeah,
you know, McGuire's one of those. What is he listed at fourth string? Maybe. I mean,
he's a football guy.
He's down the depth
through.
chart, but he's such a vital part of the team and what Baylor does. And that pep talk coming into, I know there was a tweet this past week that said, just picture it's 2036 and head coach Garrett McGuire leads Baylor out of their national championship victory. You know,
he's going to be a great coach.
So I let me also say Baylor Bigfoot. I guarantee you, he's like what? 22, 23. He's pre-med, obviously.
Baylor Bigfoot?
Baylor Bigfoot. Like, you can just tell.
Guys, I'm a Baylor Bigfoot fan. I mean, this is the second time this week.
I love the Baylor Bigfoot content, but you got to think that guy is neuroscience. Like, this guy's got, there's just something deeply intellectual about Baylor Bigfoot that he's hiding from us, and I love it.
I would say Baylor Bigfoot's probably been around for hundreds of years. I don't know how he has cell service
hundreds
out
of years
in the woods, wherever he's living, but I'm glad that he calls. I hope he keeps calling every week.
This text on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line says, I forgot this is the second time we've had 4 turnovers forced and lost the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you shouldn't ever lose a game where you force 4 turnovers and outgain another team and have the ball late with the ability to win the game or at least tie the game. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
First-year coach or not, you've got a seasoned quarterback who's been doing this for so long. It's a... Armstrong?
Here we go again.
It's a broken record.
Yeah. You also should keep your foot on the gas, though. You should very much. You should go for blood at the end of the first half. You should continue to run the ball north and south. You should continue to take deep shots. Like, they got away from that so much in the third quarter, which was confusing because there were so much great things that happened in the first half offensively because they finally had an identity. So it was almost like they got a lead and then played not to lose rather than play to win. And that, I think, is just the mark of a team that is still trying to figure it out and still trying to get behind this leadership and this coaching staff and trying to mesh. Like, they just don't know how to win with this staff yet, it feels like.
Armstrong, I'm wearing you out, but Baylor they'll find something that's so consistent and it works, and they'll do it for 2 or 3 drives or 2 or 3 consistent plays, and then
here we go again.
They stop doing it. It's remember a few weeks ago, you look at the UT game where it's all right, or West Virginia. It's okay, you run the football for 3 or 4 yards and then another 4 or 5 yards, and it seems like, okay, we're the power run game. We're going off tackle. We're going up the middle, and things are looking good. And then Charlie Brewer does a double reverse where we give the ball to Tyquan Thornton, and he throws it back to Brewer. What are we doing? What's our identity? Why do we seem to have an identity and then get away from it?
Yeah. And it's weird because I think if Squirrel stays in the game, Baylor wins this football game. For whatever reason, for whatever phenomenon, the power run game with Squirrel Williams was something that we loved and got so much away from when a new back came in the game. It was like he had 8 carries in the first half, and then everybody else had, like, I think the next carry or the next highest carrier was 6 outside of Charlie Brewer at 10. So, like, running the ball without Squirrel Williams in the game is just not a priority for some reason.
True.
So it's like, why? I don't know.
Not to mention Squirrel Williams, he looked really good. He passed the eye test
he looks
for me,
awesome,
obviously, and we hope he's okay. We hope he's back. It's one of those just weird injuries. Didn't look great. But we hope definitely that he's back. He's an X factor, but he hasn't been utilized whatsoever in the last few weeks.
He was third string.
He was third string
going in.
Look what he did
today.
last week. Last week, he comes in the second half and looks really, really strong.
Balls.
Where has this guy been?
Yeah.
Why have you, especially with the situation with Ebner and Lovett, and there's infighting in the team, and you have a really odd scenario where coaches and guys have to step up and show they have experience and maturity, and still, it's as if this guy, who's been with the team for what now, 4 years?
He'd be a third-year freshman.
And it's like you're not giving him the chance that he deserves, and when you do, he shows up. He looks so good today. Definitely passed the eye test. 8 carries for 28 yards isn't spectacular by any means.
3.5.
But when you look at what he actually did on the field, and if you watch the game, you saw a lot of potential. So we hope that he's okay, and our prayers still go out to Squirrel and his family in an injury that definitely looked gruesome. So we've got people need to take a deep breath. This on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. People need to take a deep breath. We win in Lubbock next week. How?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Convince me. Someone convince me that Baylor will. They can win any game. Will win in Lubbock.
If Baylor plays the way they did today, let's say you force 4 turnovers, again, would be a big ask. So let's say they force 2 turnovers. Force 2 turnovers, take care of the football, you win that game. They're trending upward offensively. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. If Charlie plays remotely as well as he did today, they will win that football game. If they can run the football remotely effectively and be multidimensional, they will win that football game. The defense is not the problem. The defense is opportunistic, but they're not fantastic today, allowing 38 points, but they're good enough to win football games. And Texas Tech is not exactly a powerhouse offensively. So Baylor, if they can play their game and eliminate some of the mistakes from today, they're going to win next week in Lubbock. I would guarantee it. I would bet my firstborn child on that, actually.
Oh, okay.
And UT Mike.
You and I have done a lot of work
Let's
together
talk,
in sports media, and you've bet your first child multiple times, and it has not worked out for you once.
I'm out about 3 firstborn.
You are out 3 firstborn children.
Firstborn children.
You give that up a lot, and it never works out.
I'm going to be adopting.
We got to pick something new. We've got to pick something new.
Safe game, safe price. You know what I'm saying?
Picture this. Armstrong, I hope this is the last time we have to use it. Picture this. It's the third quarter.
Of what game?
Next week. Lubbock, Texas. Baylor's up 28-10, and things are just going your way. Okay. Interception. Oh, that's okay. Texas Tech scores. It's an 11-point game.
Was it a pick 6?
It was a pick 6. Okay. Charlie Brewer comes back out 3 and out. We throw 3 straight incomplete passes. Why did we do it? Who knows? All right. Texas Tech comes down, kick a field goal. Right. So now we're at 28-20. Okay. 3 and out again. Texas Tech scores. They get the 2-point conversion like they should. 28-28. Now it's the fourth quarter. You think, okay, it's the fourth quarter. We're still tied. You can do this. And then
here we go again.
Texas Tech scores 3 times.
Okay, here's the issue I have with that scenario. Baylor will be more prepared for that scenario because they went through what they did today. Very rarely will a team blow a lead twice in a season. After today, Baylor is better. I mean, I know it hurts. I know it stings. Should it be Iowa State? All right, like everyone can agree. Should it be Iowa State when you had that lead? But at the same time,
or West Virginia,
should it be West Virginia? Should it be West Virginia? Should it be Iowa State? But now Baylor is better for today. They're more experienced. You got to take your lumps, man. They're
better for today.
They are. Do you not think so? They're
I agree
way better
with the
for
call,
today. Absolutely.
With the text
Absolutely
that said, when are we going to stop saying, "Oh, moral victory. We're better because of today"?
Oh no, there's no moral victory. But at the same time, you got to go through the fire.
Oh, wait a second. There's no moral victory, but we're better now because we played.
No, they are
today.
better now. Yeah, that's not a moral victory, but you're a better football team.
It's not a moral victory that we're better.
I mean, it might be a moral victory for some people, but I don't think it's a moral victory by any means. But you are a better football team.
Is it a moral loss that we think we're better because of today?
No, it's not a moral. Okay, you're missing the point here. You're missing the point here. Your football team is better because they went through a tough experience. They played a good team, took them to the wire.
You know what that sounds like?
Heartbreaking loss.
A moral victory.
I mean, if you want to take it as a moral victory, you can. But I think progress happens like this, right? Progress isn't right
like
here.
Like what?
Like this. You know what I'm saying?
One more.
You want to see it? All right. For all the visual learners. Progress happens with a couple dips, right? Okay, you're not going to just have this isn't something that's going to go like a stock market boom, okay? It's going to be something that happens with a bunch of bumps and bruises, and Baylor's taking that right now, and that's what all the great programs have to do. You know, you don't just show up the first day with the new staff and win out. You know, you don't it doesn't happen. It's not instant ready offense, unfortunately. But
well, it could be when your entire offense is back.
You lost Denzel Mims, who was one of the best receivers in the Big 12.
I say entire. Entire was a very strong
word. You lost
there.
your OC. You have a pandemic.
You do have a pandemic, and I think we don't give that enough credit. This year doesn't count. At the end of the day, this year doesn't count. And anybody can come back. Charlie Brewer could start 12 games at quarterback for Baylor next season.
Golly.
That's a talking point. But we got a couple of these texts we're going to hit here in the last part of this show. This says Tech is awful at stopping opposing teams. Charlie will torch the Tech defense. Here's the deal. What do you have to lose at this point? I think Baylor fans would love to see it because we live in the age where people hate any offense that doesn't air the ball out 40 times a game. What if we just go out there, Baylor sends the offense out, 4 verts. Let's go Madden.
I love it.
4 verts,
love that.
just air out Charlie Brewer the entire game. I mean, what else is there to live for?
Unhitch the wagon, baby.
Unhitch it.
Unhitch the wagon.
Unhitched
go
it a few
home
times
with
a
0
day.
bullets in the chamber. And it was working.
Charlie
and
said,
it
hey,
was working.
You, RJ Sneed, you are 45 yards downfield and you're wide open. I'm going to overthrow you by 10 yards to show that I can and prove to those fans I got arm strength.
Yeah, he let it loose.
I think that's what happened.
He let it loose. But you have to honor that
I heard
as a
him say
safety.
it.
Like, if you're a safety and you're thinking, oh, my gosh, they're going to actually threaten with the deep post, and I can't just trigger on the run every time. I can't trigger on the out route every time. Like, that seriously plays into a game plan. It's the long game, and the Baylor's playing it right now, and they got to be aggressive offensively like that. Otherwise, they're going to have no shot.
Great way to end the show here. Jack Wheeler says, I am also a huge Baylor Bigfoot fan. So, Baylor Bigfoot, know that you are gaining traction here with Sikkim 365. A lot to unpack in this show tonight after Baylor loses 38-31, a game in which ESPN had them at an 86% chance of victory at halftime, and they fall in Ames in yet another heartbreaker to drop to 1-4 overall. Record number of calls tonight, so thank you so much for getting in on the action here on the Muscle-Wise Baylor postgame show. For Drake Toll, JD Piquel, Brian Etheridge, we have Armstrong Sims in the building with us as well. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week after the Baylor and Texas Tech game in Lubbock. Win or lose, we'll be right here on the Sikkim 365 postgame show.
My firstborn child depends on it.
It won't be a win.